The PM's been out defending her agreement this morning. The big question, of course, is it enough for you? Do you think you'd back it in Commons votes?
Well, the first big question is whether it'll be agreed with the EU, because if there isn't a deal, there's nothing to vote on. But the principles that are in the proposals to the EU, which are to have a customs arrangement and a deal on immigration, if they're met, they are the two key principles behind what's needed for a clean, clear Brexit. In other words, we leave, but we don't sacrifice our manufacturing industry in exchange for World Trade Organization rules, which would not be good for the country and would shift control to countries like Japan and China, and we'd be taking their rules, which isn't in our interests.
Do you think that there is much difference between the Labour Party's official position on Brexit, what it wants to see, and what Theresa May is proposing in this Chequers agreement?
Well, there's differences of emphasis, but when it comes to the substantive issues, a customs arrangement that means frictionless trade, that means no tariffs, that means for the viewers that food prices don't go up. For example, dairy products, 43% increase under the World Trade rules. Car prices up 10% on every car under World Trade rules, which would be the decimation of the car industry and the aerospace industry. I think there's agreement on that. I think there's agreement on the principles of immigration, listening to what Jeremy Corbyn's saying and what the Prime Minister's saying, that we need a deal on immigration that allows people with skills in, but puts restrictions on cheap, unskilled labour. Both are saying that, and there's agreement that we have to leave, that we're not having a second referendum. And so I think actually there's a lot more in common there than perhaps both of them would care to admit.
So why do you think it is that Labour are currently saying that they wouldn't be prepared to back this deal? We spoke to Tom Watson, Labour's deputy leader, a bit earlier on the show, and he was making it quite clear that at the minute he doesn't think Labour would support the proposals. But if what you're saying is true, that there's not that much difference between them apart from a difference in emphasis, why are they doing that?
Well, when it comes to the wire, if Theresa May negotiates this deal and gets agreement, then the choice in front of Parliament will be either a no deal, in other words, World Trade Organization rules, which is 10% on the price of cars, huge increases in food prices, decimation of the aerospace and a number of other manufacturing industries. That's one option. Or the second option will be the deal that she's agreed with the European Union. I'd be surprised if there aren't lots of Labour MPs. If that is the choice, including something rational on immigration, where we have control over our borders, if that's what's on offer, then I can see quite a lot of Labour MPs will, when it comes to it, in that final vote, vote for it, rather than try and scupper Brexit.
So you think that it could be Labour MPs, opposition MPs, who effectively get Theresa May over the line when it comes to this Brexit deal?
Well, the idea that it's not that palatable to be going through any voting lobby with Theresa May and her gang, but neither is it to be going through any voting lobby with Jacob Rees-Mogg and Steve Baker, who are interested in the speculative financial world, but in doing over our manufacturing. That's not in the interests of my constituency in the north of England. It's not in the interests of working class people. It's not in the interests of the country. So I don't want to be in a situation where I'm going in, and I won't be going in, some voting lobby with Jacob Rees-Mogg and those who want a second referendum in some unholy alliance. I'll not be voting in the same lobby as them. And I think there'll be quite a lot of Labour MPs who will balk at the idea that they're going to go in the same lobby as those who want to scupper Brexit, and those, such as Jacob Rees-Mogg, who've got this fanciful idea that we can survive in this country without a car industry, without an aerospace industry, without manufacturing, and put up food prices hugely for working people. That's not a good deal. So when it comes to it, that is quite a possibility.
I'm interested in what you're saying there about sharing a voting lobby with people who want a second referendum, people who, in your words, want to try and scupper Brexit, because at the minute, the Labour leadership isn't ruling out what they call a people's vote. Is that something that concerns you?
Well, everything I've heard from Jeremy Corbyn is ruling that out. I think he'll stick to that. I certainly hope he will. He'll lose the working class if he doesn't. But there are some. They're very open about it. They want to scupper Brexit. They've been quite clear about it. Well, I'll not be voting when it comes to any final deal, if it's on offer, in the same lobby as those who want to scupper Brexit. And if they're in the lobby with Jacob Rees-Mogg, then I think the public will be asking some very big questions. I think people are a bit baffled and bemused at what's going on. They want us to get out of the European Union as they voted for it on the best terms possible. And I don't think anyone out there wants to see 10% on the price of cars and huge increases on the price of food. That would not be popular. It's not what people voted for. It's not what I voted for. And I think Rees-Mogg and his little gang need to be honest that when they say no deal, what they mean is we abide by the rules and regulations of the World Trade Organization, and that's disastrous for aerospace, disastrous for the car industry. Car prices up 10% and food prices up, including some foods, over 40%. So let them be honest about that.